Congresswoman Mikie Sherrill.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for being here this morning and tearing yourselves away from the New Jersey elections. But it is great to be talking about such weighty and important issues because over 2 weeks ago, President Biden sent Congress an urgent supplemental funding request to address the crisis we face around the world, including a terrorist attack against Israel and more than 200 hostages held captive by Hamas, a humanitarian crisis in Gaza with innocent civilians running out of water, food, and medicine, Ukraine's continued defense against Putin's brutal invasion, and China's rising aggression towards Taiwan and regional ambitions. The President clearly underscored the danger if we let terrorists or tyrants act without consequence. House Democrats agree that we are at an inflection point, that America's response to these crises matters and that inaction is unacceptable. As a former Navy helicopter pilot and Russian policy officer, I know that the U.S. cannot walk away from these fights if we want to preserve and protect democracy. But Speaker Johnson has decided to retreat as the world is in crisis. Instead of sending a strong message about America's resolve, he abandoned allies and politicized aid to Israel with an unserious, inadequate bill. A bill with supposed offsets that in fact add billions to the deficit, fails to include humanitarian aid to Gaza, and that's dead on arrival in the Senate. This is no way to lead or govern. We must instead address these crises as a whole because they're connected in the fight for freedom and democracy. We've seen that Ukraine's enemies are, in fact, also Israel's enemies. Russia recently hosted Hamas leaders in Moscow, and a Hamas spokesperson called Russia their, quote, closest friend. Iran is working hand in glove with Putin, supplying drones and munitions for the war in Ukraine as they supply Hezbollah and support attacks against American assets worldwide. 38 and counting in the last month, with 46 Americans injured, 8 attacks since Friday alone. So it's time for House Republicans to wake up to this reality. The Senate is working together on a package, but House Republicans are missing in action when it comes to standing up for democracy abroad. If the U.S. retreats, imagine the message that sends to China as they eye an invasion of Taiwan. Imagine the message it sends when Putin wants to go beyond Ukraine's borders further into Eastern Europe. Walking away now would be a win for Hamas, a win for Putin, and a win for Xi. But bundling our assistance would show the rest of the world, especially China, Russia, and Iran, that despite the work of extremists on the fringes, the vast majority of American lawmakers stand ready to support our democratic partners. Congress must meet this moment. We cannot let petty politics diminish America's leadership or responsibilities on the global stage. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Representative Sherrill. And under